Okay, so I'm just gonna make a really short one here in that article here. I'm gonna pull up the exact name of the article just so I give them credit. Let's click on this and we'll open it up. It's like the visual, let me pull it up. Hidden things shall come to light, the visual image of Joseph Smith Jr., Ron Rumig, Lachlan Mackey. They also wrote one about a daguerreotype, so they reference that of Lucy Mack Smith. I think this is it. And I think you have to pay for that one. So I have not read through that, but guys, look at that nose. Okay, that nose is really, it's very similar to like Hiram's nose. I think Joseph's nose was a lot more like Lucy. So life drawings of Lucy Mack Smith. We've got Frederick Piercy. Try to find a better, that looks like a low resolution. I'm trying to pull up. Okay, do you see how different her nose is? Because Joseph's nose is a lot like Lucy's. Hiram's nose is more like this woman they think is Lucy, but I just want you to look at that nose. She doesn't have much hair. She's got that bonnet pulled really far forward. Let's look at her lips, and let's look at that daguerreotype. That nose is totally different. Totally, completely different. There we go. This is it. Recently discovered. So they talk about the background, that this was like round, it was on a locket, and so that's, makes sense that Joseph's would look like that. That's not Lucy. Why is that happening? Okay, it won't let me zoom in. Wait, what are these? What is that? That's like a drawing. Okay, so this is like the original. Either way, you can tell. Like, you can't see her nostrils. You can't see her nostrils there. So I think this is... Sometimes that's a different looking, but I'm not sure if that's really a daguerreotype. It's doing something weird when I zoom in here. Of course, you'd have to like read the article. So you could do that if you want. You have to read and log in through your school or library. And you can read through that, but I don't feel like I need to because that's not Lucy's nose. That's not Lucy's nose. I don't think that's Lucy's hair. Okay. But I'm going to show you a profile of... I don't know. That doesn't look like a high resolution. I have one on my computer. I might just pull it up. If it'll let me pull it up. And also, people go off on... This was in a frame. And so, there's videos about this exact picture. They probably spend like 30 minutes talking about the Book of Abraham, and they're like arguing about how the original like part of it burned in the fire and the hands weren't like this, but this is Sutcliffe Maudsley drawing it as it's framed on the wall. Whereas that could be the copy, but looking at this, it looks like papyrus, like he's painting a framed portion of the papyrus. Anyway, that's not the point. This woman's nose is not going to suddenly change and be down there like Hiram's. I'm going to show you Hiram Smith nose. It's anything. Hiram Smith. You just sort of get to understand the facial features of these people. Yeah, his nose kind of comes down a little bit. Definitely. There we go. Can you kind of see? the difference there between Joseph's nose. Joseph more has a nose like his mother. Okay, you see how it's kind of like that. Look at Lucy again. You see how right there it just sort of comes down? So basically the tip of her nose is a little bit higher, like Joseph's. It's just a little bit higher than Hiram's. Okay, we can get a nice profile of Hiram. I'm not going to do any more, but I have perfect profiles of Hiram that I took pictures of there. But you can see his nose is generally, it's just lower. The tip of his nose is lower. They both had pretty big noses, but the tip of his nose is lower. Whereas, if I click on that, nope. Let's go to again, Maudsley's drawing. Try to find that exact one. There we go. There we go. Brothers side by side. It's slight, but the tip of Joseph's nose is a little bit higher. Hiram's is definitely a little bit lower. It's very evident on the death mask, though. Kind of like there's Hiram's, so it's just a lot more, where it's just slightly right there. And Joseph, it's a little bit more like that, and definitely Lucy is like that. So the tip of her nose it's not, looks nothing at all like these, like this woman. That's not Lucy. It's not Lucy's nose. We could look at other features. They don't want you to be able to zoom in. That looks like an actual photo. This also leads, and they think this is the, well, you can try to zoom in there, but my goodness. And her eyes look really dark. And every time you zoom in, they want to make it smaller. Okay, but let's go ahead and look at life drawings of Lucy. Just sort of got that. So that's Sutcliffe Maudsley, that's from life. And Frederick Piercy drew Lucy Mack Smith. So you just see the tip of her nose from the profile and from the front is a lot higher. It looks nothing at all like this lady. That's not her. So they're using that background and how apparently that's, and it's a circle, and so Joseph's daguerreotype's going to be a circle, and there it's like a plaster background. So Joseph's background is plaster. It's not going to be like they know everything I've written on my website. So like I'm talking about drapes, and you can see that in Emma Smith's picture that they believe is by. Anyway, that's not Lucy. That's Lucy. Really light eyebrows. She does sort of have like thinner lips. She's got that bonnet really far forward, but you see how thin this is? And there we go. Yeah, underneath there, you can see her skin. So this is a thin bonnet. You can see her hair underneath. It's not black. It's already gray. It's totally gray. So you can actually see her hair. It's white and gray already, according to Sutcliffe Maudsley. Because this is, you can see her hair in a bun. Her hair is very light. It's not black. That's not Lucy Mack Smith. Although, that's Lucy Milliken. Her nose does come down. But her nose is more like Hiram's. And then her sister Catherine. So if you just look at my website, look at the family. I got Catherine and Lucy. On the very, very, very bottom. See, there's Lucy, Catherine. Catherine's nose, you can see more of her nostrils, whereas Lucy, the cartilage just goes down lower. That's more like Hiram's, her nose, and ears. Her ears, especially. Look at the shape of those ears. And I think one reason someone was really intrigued by this one is probably the ears and the shape of the ears, and you can see that nose. That's someone who has a little bit more of a nose like Joseph. But his nose is a little bit lower, so someone thought, oh, I'll do an artwork like, I think David looked like him, but you know from the profile and from the front that Joseph's nose isn't like that. And so you've got this digital drawing of Joseph with a nose it's not Joseph's nose, you know? You know what his nose looked like. You got Alexander there. We've got all the sons here. So, anyway. Yep, so I just don't... This is from life. That isn't. And that's postmortem. And here's another one. Okay, so you've got Catherine on the left and Lucy Milliken on the right. But even then, her nose is not just... It just does not suddenly change shape. I mean, your nose gets bigger, but... This was from life. Frederick Piercy drew this. Okay, so I'd Googled. There we go. So I just want to click on the one that goes directly to his travels. So he wrote a book about his travels, and he actually stayed with Emma Smith, and he drew a picture of a guy, of Joseph, that looks a lot like... This is from my website, but this is credited as Frederick Piercy, and he knows. Just Joseph's nose is shaped a little bit different, and then his nose is a little bit more flat. So he just knew. He's a good artist. He's a good judge of facial characteristics. So I mean, I don't want to down the people that worked on this other thing, but Frederick Piercy's travels. Just trying to find his exact... We'll find it if we go here. I used to have a link to it. But yeah, he has a lot of artwork. And, oh gosh. I had the link on my old website, so I'll link it for you guys so you know. He talks about being there. I'm not going to spend much more time on that, but it's from life. And he drew the sons from life. He drew, Joseph Smith III and David Hiram and Lucy. So he met Lucy before she died. And so she lived well into her 70s. And I definitely think her hair was not black in 1842. I don't think she would have dyed her hair black. But I do think this is... Yeah. that nose, that tip of that nose isn't that woman's nose. Basically, if you saw the profile of that other woman, it would be down there. It would just be really low. Okay, this is an elderly Lucy. What they've decided was Lucy Mack Smith. It's not Lucy Mack Smith, okay? It's just not.